So why don't I, as a Christian, celebrate Christmas?
Many Christians are aware that Christmas does not derive from the Bible. Originally and initially, it still has nothing to do with Jesus, really, to be honest. But the origins of it, where it comes from, is pagan, because that can be proven historically. That can be proven by just a quick Google search. Christmas was around and being celebrated long before the birth of Christ. So this goes back to the Babylonian days. That's where this tradition and, quite frankly, this ritual comes from. It has nothing to do with the Bible. It has nothing to do with Christ. When you find out the truth about it, you have to make excuses and say things like, well, I don't celebrate it for that reason.
By that time, it's such a stronghold on people.
By that time, it's become such a part of your life that it's hard to break away from it. This happened very strategically. The early church, the men that we spoke about, did not celebrate Christmas whatsoever. Because, like I said, Christmas was being celebrated back then, but it had nothing to do with the church or the faith. This goes back to Nimrod and Tammuz. Really, it was a celebration to honor and to worship Tammuz, the sun god. It had nothing to do with the true son of God. It was a counterfeit, right?
In the 4th century, Constantine became emperor of Rome. The followers of Yahshua were growing in number in Rome. Constantine claims to have a vision of a cross and converts all Rome under the religion of Christianity. This was not because he was a true believer in Yahshua, but a way of squashing the conflict between the pagans and the ones they classified as Christians. Either way, what Constantine did was mesh Rome's already known pagan beliefs with belief in Yahshua. Yahshua was plugged in as the sun god reborn, and Mary was the mother goddess. There was much gelling of beliefs that later formed the Roman Catholic Church. Much of this was done at the Council of Nicaea.
Just a verse I want to point out, because Christmas actually is, or the traditions of Christmas actually is mentioned in the Bible. It's mentioned it's rebuking it actually. So this is Jeremiah 10:3-5. The customs of the people are vain, for they cut trees out of the forest. These are evergreen trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They're cutting trees, evergreen trees, out of the forest with an axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. These are the silver and the gold balls we hang on these evergreen trees, right? They fasten it with nails, with the hammer, so that it doesn't move. And God is rebuking these practices, these customs, these Christmas customs, because once again, they were around long before Jesus. They just came from Babylon, and then they were passed down, from generation to generation, and new characters were introduced. And then it came to a point where it was introduced into the church. I bring this information to people, to my family members, to friends and things like that, who are still partaking in these practices. They don't know how dangerous they are. They have no idea what they're doing is a demonic ritual. Mm-hmm. And what I'll hear is, well, I don't celebrate it for that. Or we redeemed it. Now it's for Christ. You can't redeem something that is for fallen angel worship. Our whole mission and purpose as Christians is to worship God according to what his word tells us. We can't choose to worship God the way we want to. Deuteronomy 12:31 lets us know we are not to worship God the way we want to, or according to the traditions of the heathen or pagans, right? You must not worship the Lord your God in their way. It goes on to say, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things the Lord hates. The Lord hates these things. They have nothing to do with him, nothing to do with the Bible, nothing to do with Jesus. They even burn their sons and daughters in the fire as sacrifices to their gods. You guys, this is specifically talking about some of the rituals and practices of Christmas and where it comes from. There was this god named Molech that they would throw coals and fire into this statue, and it would get hot. It would get burning hot to the point where it was burning red hot. What they would do is they would take their newborn babies, they would take a wish list, they would write out all the things that they wanted on this wish list or Christmas list. Mm-hmm. They would take these newborn children and they would place these newborn babies into the burning hot red hands of this statue, this glowing red statue, and their babies would disintegrate. And that was their sacrifice to this god named Molech. And what they would do is take their wish list and they would place it into this statue, and all of their wishes were supposed to be granted because of their sacrifice by placing their children, their newborn babies, into this burning red hot statue. But what do you think is being symbolized when we go to the mall and we place our children into Santa's lap, Satan's lap? He's wearing this red costume, and that's what it's symbolic for. Your kids go to the mall, they take their wish list, they sit in Santa's lap, Satan's lap, right? And he's supposed to bringing them all that they want for Christmas. Sacrificing your children to Molech. That's what it's symbolic for.
Merry Christmas, I wrapped it up and said, with a note saying I love you.
Spelling.